Okay, build stations. I have white buckets right here. Let me show you. My white buckets right back there, B-U-I-L-D, do you see them back there, are for literacy. And then the black buckets over there are for math. Because in the morning I do literacy stations so I could do my small group reading. And then in the afternoon, at the end of the day, I do math stations so that the kids can come back for interventions. So anyway, so what do the letters mean? Well, they've kind of morphed over the years, but basically this is how I do it for literacy and for math. For literacy, build. B is for books. U is for using manipulatives, so any kind of like spelling tiles, magnet letters, poker chips. So using manipulatives. I is for independent work, so that's for any kind of like worksheet of review type activities. L is for learning games, so that's usually on the computer, but sometimes it does mean like actual physical learning games. And then D is for drawing and writing, so it's for any kind of craft or letter writing or anything to do with art and writing. Okay, so that's literacy, and I'm going to show you some of the things I put in there for build. So B is for books. It's always some kind of book report, and I usually only use 2 types of book response pages. There's one in the beginning of the year that's really super easy, has a happy face and a sad face. If they like the book, it's kind of like a little book review, and they have to write, I like it because, and then just tell me why they liked it, and draw a picture in the beginning of the year. And then this is the one I kind of use, copied kind of crazy, right now. They have to write what they liked, draw a picture of what they liked, and the name of the book. Really simple. They can read a book on their level. They can use a book around the room. They can use a book that we've already read. It could be one of their decodable books we read that week. So it's really up to you on what your parameters are. But it's book response is basically letter B. Letter U is using manipulatives, and I use poppets. I use nonsense words. What else? Letter tiles, poker chips. This is the one I've really been liking. I use the poppers with it. This is Dropping Knowledge with Heidi, where, okay, so the word is a bean, so they have to pop out the sounds in bean, b-een, 3 sounds, and then they have to put each letter sound. But of course, that's when we are working on that particular spelling pattern. In the beginning of the year, it was CBC words like log and cat. So, but Dropping Knowledge with Heidi has this Map It word game that I really like. Sometimes I'll have a bunch of poker chips with lots of letters on it, and they have to pick out, I don't think I have a copy of that. And they have to pick out letters and make real or nonsense words. In March, I had some dice that they had to roll, and they had to decide if it was a real or nonsense words, because I have like the foamy dice with the vowel in the middle. So real or nonsense words. Let's see, letter I are things like this. Worksheets. This one is adding a blend. These are shamrocks for March last month. This one where we were putting the R-controlled vowels in the middle. This one where they have to find a CVC word or vowel teams. So I just find stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers or things I've really collected over the years that fit each particular letter. So that was what? Using manipulatives. I is independent work, any of those little papers I was showing you. L is on the learning games or any of those like word games that you have. For learning games on the computer, it's like Starfall, eSpark, Teacher Monster to Read, all those sites. And then D is for drawing and writing. Sometimes I have like sight word, color by sight words, theme, seasonal type things. Letter writing is a huge one that they really like. Any kind of craft that you don't usually get to do. I do a lot of puppets and stuff, like the Big Bad Wolf or the little piggies or something that will go with our writing. Let's see, and that's it for letter D. And then for math, B is for buddy games. And I used to have actual buddy games where the kids would work with a partner, but it was just too loud. So really what I mean by buddy games is something that they can do on their own with some kind of manipulative. Like last week, they had a pile of coins, and they were sorting But you can see how this is like open-ended and something they can do on their own. That's kind of how it should be. And something that you've taught before. So they were sorting coins in letter U. Or I had this one where they could make different ways to make 50 cents or 60 cents using the coins. Let's see. Oh, in the beginning of the year, I gave them a bunch of plastic spider rings. And they put a little bit on this spider web and a little bit on this spider web and added them together. So any kind of like game, I use a lot with cards. This one, they could put Uno cards on each side and then add them together. A lot of addition. I found that one online. They liked it a lot. Any kind of spinning games, right? With the paper clip, spin and add. Okay, so that's B. U is using manipulatives. Again, dominoes, dice, poker chips, putting them in number order. Greatest to least, or least to greatest. Dominoes, adding the dominoes together. Jewels, last week we did Rainbow Edition, where I gave them these little pots of gold and they had the little jewels. Counting collections, anything like that. Okay, so letter I is independent work. Again, it's something that they can do on their own. So they had greater than and less than last week. They had fact families last week. Shamrock, you know, theme related to the season. Color by quarter and dime. So actually that would be letter D. Letter D has kind of morphed. It used to be for do the math, because we used to have a program called Do the Math, but now it's more for drawing, and they do a lot of like coloring. So color by coins, color by addition or subtraction, but Do the Math is basically any kind of review page, kind of like letter I, independent work. Letter L is on the computer. This is where Eureka comes in. You can take those fluency pages, rip them out of the workbook and put them in a pile in letter I and use those Eureka pages. In Zern is for letter L. Letter L, everyone has to go to Zern or Prodigy or eSpark or any of those math related, or 99 Math, any of those math related sites. But that's a good place to get in your Zern lesson in letter letter L. Or in letter I, to get in your fluency practice, you can have the kids go to letter I and do their independent practice, their fluency pages. So that's a good way to get it into stations with Eureka. But letter L, if don't want to be on the computer, or if they've already done their assignment on the computer, you can have math type games. This one's called Pop It. They like that one too. So letter L is for learning games on Zern or computers or an actual physical game. So I hope that helps. I just have over the years collected things, and a lot of them are seasonal, and I can just pull them out. The first year is hard, just like everything, but then after that, I mean, you say, oh, it's March, it's time to bring out all my Shamrock stuff and my jewels and my gold coins and coins and money and stuff like that. And then in April, guess what? I'm going to be pulling out those Easter egg games, and true and false inside the little Easter egg, and addition inside the Easter egg, and the sight words inside the Easter egg. I mean, so it's super easy once you start building up your build station repertoire and have them organized. Still working on that. So I hope that helps.